We are taught to view the dawn of civilization as humanity's ultimate triumph. The story goes that we abandoned the brutal, unpredictable life of nomadic hunter-gatherers, settled down to farm, and lived happily ever after in glorious cities with art, laws, and technology. It sounds like a massive upgrade, right? Well, it turns out that history is written by the victors, and the birth of civilization might actually be the biggest trap humanity ever walked into. Far from a peaceful paradise, the transition to settled life unleashed an absolute flood of suffering, sickness, and systemic misery that altered our DNA forever. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the dark side of civilization nobody talks about, exploring the hidden costs of our modern world that we are still paying for today. The agricultural trap of constant labor. Before civilization, hunter-gatherers lived a surprisingly chill lifestyle. Anthropologists estimate they only worked about 15 to 20 hours a week gathering food, leaving the rest of their days open for storytelling, playing, and relaxing. Enter agriculture. Suddenly, humans chained themselves to a single patch of dirt, working from grueling dawn to bitter dusk just to tend to stubborn crops like wheat and barley. Renowned thinker Yuval Noah Harari famously argued that humans didn't domesticate wheat, wheat domesticated us. We traded a diverse, leisurely foraging life for a relentless, back-breaking routine of weeding, watering, and praying for rain. If the crops failed due to a sudden drought, an entire village would instantly starve, turning our brilliant new invention into a high-stakes prison of constant, anxious labor. The bone-shattering toll on our bodies. If you look closely at the animated skeletons of early farmers compared to their hunter-gatherer ancestors, the physical toll of civilization becomes painfully obvious. Foragers had strong, dense bones and tall statures because their active lifestyles kept them incredibly fit. Early farmers, however, show a horrifying array of physical deformities carved directly into their remains. Hours spent bent over fields, grinding grain on stone slabs, and carrying heavy loads of water led to chronic arthritis, slipped discs, and severely stunted growth. Their teeth were riddled with painful cavities from a new, carb-heavy diet that rotted enamel. Civilization didn't make us physically superior. It instantly turned our agile, athletic bodies into broken, chronically exhausted machines before most people even hit their 30s. The crowded breeding grounds of disease. Before we built cities, deadly epidemics were practically non-existent. Nomadic bands were too small and constantly on the move, meaning viruses couldn't find enough hosts to survive. But the moment humans built permanent structures and packed thousands of people into tight, crowded spaces, they created the ultimate luxury resort for deadly bacteria. To make matters worse, early civilizations lived in incredibly close, unhygienic proximity to domesticated animals like pigs, cows, and chickens. This allowed terrifying viruses to mutate and jump across species, birthing humanity's worst nightmares: smallpox, measles, influenza, and the bubonic plague. Cities became literal death traps where open sewage ran down the streets, ensuring that childhood mortality shot through the roof and turning every single settlement into a ticking biological time bomb. The invention of severe social hierarchy. In a nomadic tribe, inequality was virtually impossible because you couldn't carry excess wealth with you on the move. Everyone was essentially equal, and sharing was a strict rule of survival. But agriculture allowed humans to create something completely new: a surplus of food that could be stored, guarded, and controlled. Almost overnight, a small group of clever elites realized they could hoard the grain, build walls, and declare themselves kings, priests, and rulers. The vast majority of the population was instantly demoted to peasant status, forced to labor in the fields under the threat of violence, just to feed the wealthy rulers living in luxurious palaces. Civilization didn't just build grand cities, it invented the brutal concept of institutional poverty and social oppression. The heavy, invisible chains of taxation. Once kings and rulers took control of the food supply, they realized they needed a system to keep track of who owed them what. This financial greed directly led to the invention of writing and accounting. Early clay tablets aren't filled with beautiful poetry or grand philosophical ideas. They are boring, strict receipts tracking taxes, debts, and grain quotas. If a hard-working farmer had a spectacular harvest, they didn't get to enjoy the extra food. Instead, royal tax collectors would march into the village and seize the majority of the crop to fund the king's lavish lifestyle or build massive monuments. For the average human, civilization meant trading absolute personal freedom for a lifetime of systemic financial exploitation and heavy, unavoidable debt. The blood-stained birth of organized warfare. While hunter-gatherers certainly had violent skirmishes, they rarely engaged in massive, prolonged conflicts because there was simply nothing worth dying for. If a rival band moved into your valley, you could easily pack up your tents and move to the next hill. But once humans invested years of backbreaking labor into building irrigation canals, fortified walls, and fertile fields, running away was no longer an option. You had to stay and fight to the death to protect your investment. Civilization transformed casual tribal violence into highly organized, industrial-scale warfare. Kings built massive standing armies, invented specialized weapons of mass slaughter, and marched across borders to butcher their neighbors, turning human history into a non-stop, blood-stained cycle of conquest and territorial destruction. The catastrophic war on nature. The dark side of civilization didn't just crush human beings, it unleashed an absolute war of destruction on the planet itself. To feed exploding urban populations, early empires began systematically cutting massive ancient forests to create farmland, leading to severe soil erosion and widespread desertification. The ancient Sumerians farmed their land so aggressively and irrigated it so poorly that the soil eventually became choked with toxic salt, destroying their agricultural base and causing their entire empire to collapse. Civilization marked the exact moment humanity stopped adapting to the natural environment and instead started violently bending nature to its will, kicking off a devastating cycle of ecological destruction that has directly led to our modern global climate crisis. The slavery engine of the ancient world. Here is a deeply uncomfortable truth that history textbooks love to gloss over. Every single great ancient civilization you admire was powered almost entirely by human slavery. From the majestic pyramids of Egypt to the philosophical courts of Athens and the grand colosseums of Rome, the beautiful architecture and cultural achievements were built on the broken backs of millions of enslaved people. Captives from wars, debtors, and kidnapped civilians were stripped of their humanity, branded like cattle, and forced to work in toxic mines or brutal fields until they dropped dead from sheer exhaustion. The leisure time that allowed ancient philosophers to sit around and think about the meaning of life was bought with the literal blood, sweat, and agony of an invisible, shackled underclass. The domestication of the human spirit. Ultimately, the greatest tragedy of civilization is that it successfully domesticated us. Just like we bred wild wolves into obedient, predictable dogs, civilization took wild, fiercely independent humans and turned them into compliant, rule-following subjects. We traded our personal autonomy, our deep connection to the wild, and our egalitarian freedom for the illusion of safety behind city walls. We became dependent on a massive, faceless system of laws, bureaucracies, and hierarchies just to tell us how to live our lives. The dark reality is that we are still living inside the very same agricultural trap that was sprung 10,000 years ago, staring at screens inside our modern concrete cages, forever wondering why we feel so restless. It is absolutely mind-blowing to realize that the things we take for granted today, like our complex societies, laws, and jobs, started out as a massive trap that completely upended human happiness and health. Civilization brought us incredible medical advances and technological wonders, but it cost us our freedom, our fitness, and our peace of mind to get here. It really makes you look at a modern city skyline with a completely different perspective. If this deep dive into the hidden history of humanity hooked you till the end, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like icon, and drop a comment below sharing if you think civilization was actually worth the price. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.